So when we hit our plus sign here, since this is a completely blank page, if we were to drag a photo as a module, so this these are your modules, you think of them as the individual elements that live on your page, whereas rows are much more to do with the structure. There's nothing specific about them. So if you noticed, I dragged a photo. When you drag a module without building rows, it does it for you automatically. Like I did not add this row, but because I dragged a module, it built a row around it. I prefer, just from my own sanity point of view, to not do it like that because it just doesn't make as much sense to me. So you can do it either way, but what I like to do is start from the structure. So if I'm building a new page and I know I would like it to have two columns, I would drag two columns, and so all I have now is a holding place for whatever module I would like. And so when we go into the settings for the rows, what we'll see is that this is a fixed row, and this fixed row is 1100 pixels wide. So I am going to make this a full width row with the content fixed. Your grid, I'm going to double check on something and then I'll have a separate video about it, but let's, for just the sake of what we're doing now, kind of save that as is. And so to show you, if you drag a photo in here, it's automatically, in my opinion, much clearer what's happening than what was happening when I just dragged the photo.
Yeah.
So you can select the photo from your media library.
This is the existing library.
The existing library. And inside here, this was something I had wanted to share as well, you will see different settings for, these are specific to the photo modules. So sometimes it won't make a visual difference, but you can change whether it's aligned right or center. Because it's confined in this row, you won't notice much of a difference. We tend to not put captions on things. It's just because that's just not how we would design, but I think if you wanted to, you could add captions. You can change the size to a more universal, what they consider medium. So you don't really have a choice over the exact size of medium, but you can choose medium, or if you go to the full size of this was 860. So there's some capabilities with sizing there. Again, you probably aren't going to want to mess too much with this. I am going to show you something in a later video about a cool feature you can add to the photos that you already are on your site. Let's save that and look at some other modules while we're in here. So the separator is one that we saw earlier that can be any color you want. The headline is self-explanatory. Can change that here. And if we wanted to drag a separator in, it's, as I'm sure you've noticed, intuitive in terms of like if you drag it below, it goes below. That's the whole point. Say you wanted some of these other things. So this is self-explanatory. Text editors, your paragraphs, headings, all of that makes sense. Looking at video is a good one to show because we didn't go into the difference there. One thing to note, I would not upload videos to your media library because it will bloat the site. So you've already done this on your current site, so I'm sure you're familiar. You have your videos on Vimeo, you have an embed code, so you'll want to be sure to, when you drag your video module, to choose embed, and then it will just come up like this, and your embed code, which if I can grab it from here is a good example. It's already up here. So this is where it lives. You copy that and you just paste it in here. And there we go.
Is that just the URL?
It's from the share icon.
Yep.
And then this icon, and then you copy that. every video everywhere, so on YouTube, anywhere, has embed codes, and it's the best way because it's, it's being hosted somewhere else. You don't have to worry about bloating your site. So,
So it was video and then embed
mm-hmm,
versus
video,
the media
correct, and that's
embed.
some other. You will not really need to be concerned about an HTML module. These sorts of things you might find use for, but I'll tell you the only thing I've genuinely used on any of our builder sites is an accordion, and I can show you what that looks like. A label would be test accordion and save. And that's what that does. And if you add a second one, that's when you can actually see the benefit of what's happening here. So I'm going to publish this because that's the only way to interact with the items you've created. So that's what that does.
So the accordion basically is a drop down
Yeah.
if you want to keep the page concise or
Right.
short.
And the reason I show it to you is so that you know it's there. I would say that an important thing that I wanted to distinguish in the training of Builder is training you on things that you already have on your site, so you feel as though it's a little overwhelming if I'm like, and here's how you could use all of these things.
Yeah,
So I don't really know that you need the accordion.
Yeah,
So
unless it's like a